Hey bros! Another episode of Cougar House Garage. Today we're going to continue working on our 5th generation 4RUNNER straight axle project. We got some jack stands and a jack to unbox, and we got to get this girl up in the air. Stay tuned. Alright guys, like I was saying, I went to Harbor Freight yesterday on my day off and I picked up 2 more big tall jack stands, I guess the 12-ton ones, and then another jack because our jack is just worn out flat. We need to rebuild it, but we need to just continue working here. I don't have time to rebuild a jack. So we're going to get this girl up in the air today, and then we're going to get it like maxed out, both the jacks maxed out on the rear of the truck, on the rear like bumper area, like on the frame, and then up front as well. Get it up in the air, get it squared up in the bay as well, kind of on the cart where we want it before we do that. And then we'll get it up in the air, and then we'll cut that cart off of it, and then we'll continue moving on, working on the rear bridge. And then from there we'll move on to designing up our radius arms with some masonite and some more crazy measurements. So let's get started. Now that we got our extra 2 12-ton jack stands unblocked and our new jack, we're going to go ahead and get the 4RUNNER positioned a little bit better. It's kind of a little bit too far back and a little bit off to the corner there. So we're going to get it moved so it's a little bit more centered. Well, so it is centered. And then that way when we put, the high offset wheels on and the 40-inch tires on that side, there's room to do it because, that's what we'll do when we take it off the jack stands when we're all done with the fabrication. So we're going to go ahead and get her centered up and get that done. Alright, now that we got the truck up in the air as high as we can, we're going to go ahead and get this rear bridge truss kind of finished designing it up, and then we'll go ahead and cut it out, tape it together, and then we'll move on to cutting the cart off underneath the truck here that we tack welded on. Well, heavy tack welded on so it wouldn't move while we were pushing the 4RUNNER around. Then we'll start designing up our radius arms. Now that we got our rear axle truss made, I kept calling them axle bridges for some reason, but the bridge is what connects your passenger side and driver side of the frame, and that holds the upper part of your panhard bar. That's called the bridge. These are called the trusses. So now that we've got the rear axle truss designed up in the basic cardboard, we're going to go ahead and get this cart plasma cut off here, get it out of our way, so that way, it's out of our way, and we can kind of grind down the welds that were on there that held that on a little bit. And then we'll move on to sliding the axles underneath the truck. So the rear one, we'll put it underneath the back so it's out of our way, and then we'll move on to getting the front one under, and we'll tape after that we'll tape our cradle underneath the frame there where it goes, and then we'll put the front axle where it belongs, and then we'll kind of draw out and start designing our radius arms. Now that we got that cart cut off from underneath the 4Runner here and put back in the 10x20 tent with all the other random stuff, miscellaneous things, we were going to put the rear axle under, but we still have to design up some radius arm mounts that are similar to the front axle, so the radius arms look the same because we're using the same design front and rear. So now that we got that done, we're going to go ahead and get the front axle. We're going to move that all the way, don't get clothesline. Yeah, we'll move the front axle under it so we can kind of figure out how it's going to look, and that's the next part. And as well, we'll take the cradle piece we made on the frame in the middle, and then we can kind of start designing up our radius arm mounts here. Alright, let's continue. That concludes our afternoon, bros. It was pretty productive. I mean, we didn't get to cut out our radius arms yet, but I mean, we got the front axle under the truck, but before that we got the truck up in there as high as we could with maxing out these 12-ton jack stands. In the future here, to get it to the ride height that it's going to actually sit at, Brandon and I are going to have to make some extensions for those stands to sit on, but we planned on doing that. We're going to make some really cool CNC pedestals, and we'll put a Cougar head in the middle of them so they'll look great in all of our photographs and everything. Got to continue the branding. So anyways, we got the front axle under the truck, centered up where it's going to be, and it's at a lower height than it'll be even maximum low, like at full compression with the bags fully aired out. So we still have to get it up higher, but not until we can make those pedestals. But we're waiting for our handheld piece to come from Bailey for the CNC machine for its table. As soon as that gets here, we'll be able to cut those pedestals out and then get that at the proper ride height. But we're just continuing and fabricating and doing stuff here. So, and we also taped the cradle underneath the 4Runner where it's going to go. And then what we can do tomorrow is we got to come in here and make some radius arm mounts for the rear axle that are similar to the front ones. So the front and rear radius arms will be the same radius arm. So they'll mount in the same spot in a similar fashion on the axle, but we'll have to fabricate those so they'll match the front ones. And then we'll move on to cutting out the radius arms on this Masonite 3/4 inch, or this 1/4 inch Masonite. And we're using this because, you know, it is quarter, so it's accurate to metal. That's what's cool about Masonite, is it comes in the proper thicknesses. So we'll get those cut out tomorrow and continue moving forward on the project, guys. Thanks for watching today, guys. Thanks for your constant support as always. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If you guys want to see more Cougar House Garage, you like what we do, check us out at cougarhousegarage.com. Check us out at Facebook/Cougar House Garage, and we are Cougar House Garage on Instagram. Follow along with the 5th generation 4Runner straight axle project here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.